Hop, Bélapi. Ça c'est bon. Ça c'est bon. Hop, là. Et voilà.
Un gros.
Ça va?
Ouais. Quoi de neuf?
Une reprise de boulot un peu difficile, mais ça va.
Oh bah, c'est un peu comme tout le monde quoi.
Ouais.
Est-ce qu'on avait joué à Borderlands 2 ensemble?
Bah oui.
Ouais, il me semble. Hein.
Oui.
Est-ce qu'il y avait Adrénaline qui était rejoint?
Non.
Ok. Ouais, parce que du coup, c'est un gamin qui est chiant et qui fait de la merde.
Bah, je me rappelle de Tio Coco là.
Monsieur Coco, on est resté en contact au point où je lui ai acheté un jeu.
Ah.
Bah, The Crew 2 quoi.
Ok.
Et il l'a bien pensé déjà.
Ok.
En un mois, il a récupéré autant d'argent dans le jeu que moi ce que j'ai récupéré alors que je joue depuis novembre.
T'es sûr?
Holmes.
En live là?
Ouais, je suis en live, ouais.
Non, pour savoir ce que je peux te dire.
Holmes, will you stop that?
Et du coup, j'ai pris la décision de poser ma démission pour le boulot, comme ça j'aurai plus de temps pour le stream.
Travailler où ça?
Je travaillais sur Paris.
Tu travailles dans quel milieu je vous dis?
Ah, c'était cigarette électronique.
Stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate.
Là, ça faisait un peu de temps que j'étais pas venu.
Ouais, bah, c'est... en gros, ce qui s'est passé, c'est je suis parti en vacances pendant 3 semaines. Et après, du mois d'août jusqu'au mois de septembre, j'ai pas arrêté de bosser.
You can see me. Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. A gentleman by the name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been
Tu peux
murdered.
envoyer une screen sur un
A
PC.
sailor, most probably.
Oui,
What
normalement,
happened
oui.
here?
En plus, j'ai un bug, je peux plus envoyer de message.
Mr.
Enfin, je vois
Holmes,
plus,
how
j'ai plus
could
accès
you?
au salon NFF.
It's the only...
Sur lequel?
Sur tous les Discord, j'ai plus accès au salon NFS.
Ah.
Donc annonce live par exemple, j'y ai plus accès.
C'est étonnant pourtant.
Bah NFSW c'est maintenant des trucs depuis 18 et vu que j'ai pas 18 ans,
Ah.
bah j'ai plus accès.
Hop, ça devrait être bon. Non, l'autre, les textes, c'est bon.
Et là je vois, c'est bon.
Oui, puis on joue à Borderlands 2 avec... comment il s'appelle?
Lolo?
Ouais, c'est ça.
Non, je joue pas avec lui non plus.
Oui, je sais, on en a déjà discuté.
A télécharger des saves? Bah il fait comme Adrenaline, il a téléchargé des saves parce que il avait le seum, moi j'ai bien farmé pour avoir mon 80 mais eux ils ont pas le temps.
A grateful client from
Ils ont la flemme
sent
d'attendre
me a
et de
vase
farmer.
collection this morning. I
Et j'ai
couldn't
envoyé une
think of a
petite
better
screen que
use
j'ai pris
for
sur
it.
ce jeu avec un pote bah,
You're out of your
aujourd'hui.
mind.
Ouais.
I missed 4 out of 10.
J'ai looté quelques
Given you
légendaires
were
de
blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one
quelques
here?
petits trucs.
I
Et j'ai un
suppose that
snipe,
Watson
je
is
l'adore.
right, Inspector.
Quand je tire, ça
A
fait
little
un
brainwork
laser.
would be
Et sur le
preferable
laser, de
now.
chaque côté, ça fait des
Do
curves.
please tell us more, Black.
Et genre le sniper, il me parle à chaque
Peter
fois.
Carey, Born in 1845
Genre,
and
il y a une
50
des phrases,
years
genre, tu sais
old.
bien me recharger.
An ambitious sort, he achieved much success
Il y a
in
des bons
seal and whale
sous-entendus.
hunting around
Ouais,
Scandinavia.
des bons sens
Retired in
entendus.
1884 with a small fortune.
Ah, mais
He
ces armes,
invested
c'est
his money
n'importe
in a
quoi.
property called Woodman's Lee,
Ah,
near
puis là, il me
Forest
reste du
Row in
coup
Sussex.
2 paires
It was where he
laissants à
lived for
obtenir
6 years and where he was found dead
dans le
yesterday.
jeu, et après je passe sur Borderlands
Has the
3.
investigation already
Ok.
begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this
Tu l'as
crime
fait
is
toi,
so
Borderlands 3
mysterious.
Le 3, je suis en train de le faire
Give me half
tranquillement.
an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and
Et
join
le
me
2,
there.
t'es plus dessus toi.
I
Non.
have to go through the
Ouais,
yard
c'est-
first. The Medi
J'ai fait tout ce que j'avais à faire dessus.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a
Ouais.
powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should help Mrs. Hudson here.
En fait là, la plupart
I
du
also
temps de
have
ce que je
several
fais sur
appointments
Borderlands
that I
2,
must
c'est
keep
farmer,
this
farmer,
afternoon.
farmer et un peu m'amuser avec les potes.
I shall go alone then.
Et
Ok.
les aider aussi. Genre avec un de mes potes, je l'ai monté de 0 à 50 en littéralement 10 minutes. En level.
Effectivement, ça va vite.
Bah moi je suis level max et eux ils deviennent en level 1. Du coup ils chopent facilement des 2000, 3000, 10 000 d'XP quoi. C'est pas mal quoi. J'ai envoyé une autre screen où mon jeu il était un peu bugué.
Ouais, c'est ce que j'ai cru voir. Il y a du genre 3 fois le même mec.
Ah bah je vais te laisser du coup.
Bah, comme tu veux.
Non mais faut que j'y aille en fait.
Ok, ça roule.
J'ai des trucs à faire.
Pas de soucis.
C'est pour dire bonjour. Ça faisait un peu de temps que je t'avais pas vu.
Ok, ok.
Autre chose.
À plus.
Ah, et attends, j'ai failli oublier.
Oui.
Quand tu joues à Borderlands 2, c'était sur la version Epic Game.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Il y a le dernier DLC qui est sorti sur Epic Game.
Celui qui permet justement de monter à niveau 80.
Ouais, et celui qui fait le truc entre Borderlands 2 et Borderlands 3.
Ok.
Si tu voulais savoir. Bon, il est au même prix, il est à 15 aussi.
Ok, bah c'est bon à
C'est juste-
savoir.
C'est juste le premier jour, il a été gratos. Du coup, voilà. Et ça fait un mois qu'il est mis.
Ok. Je note.
Voilà, voilà.
Oh, what a mess! What a terrible mess!
This is where I keep my post. This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. But I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it. At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and... oh dear.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually, whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes. Life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh, my goodness, but how do you know about that?
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Carey as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
That is indeed what happened, Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
Thank you, madam.
Mr. Holmes?
It seems that the garden was well maintained. It seems that the garden was well maintained. These footprints appear to be quite large. These It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Peter Carey's body is inside the cabin. We took care not to touch.
The door is locked.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday to ensure that no one should enter the cabin and tamper with the evidence.
Ah, good thinking.
Hello, hello, hello.
What is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see. These scratches are fresh. You're right. Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Our mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps he did not have the right tool. What a terrible way to die. The tooth of a sperm whale, probably from one of Peter Carey's catches. This place is not covered with dust, like the rest of the shelf. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book, a box or a small chest, perhaps. Dundee. Hammerfest. It's a whaling map. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8. Old navigation instruments, nothing interesting. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. Someone drank. The initials PC have been crudely burned. A sailor's work. This aroma is familiar. But to recognize it, I must construct my associations in one picture. Yes, this is a coarse tobacco, quite strong and very popular among sailors. Rum, a sailor's drink. It seems that Captain Carey was enjoying a drink before he met his death.
Have you finished inspecting the crime scene?
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Holmes?
Is this your husband's tobacco pouch?
I'm not sure. It might be, but he hadn't smoked in a very long time.
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Your husband's private papers. Do you know where they are?
There was a small tin box, barely larger than a book. He kept his papers there. It should be somewhere in his cabin.
Thank you, madam.
Who could do such a thing? Who could?
These boots don't match the footprints. JHN are probably the initials of the owner of this notebook. The pattern of the blood stain indicates that the notebook was not lying on the floor prior to the crime, but it was dropped into the pool of blood after the death of Peter Carey. This wooden handle is plain and solid. This blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but he did not succeed. Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harpoon. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that he knew his murderer. The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. These abbreviations mean something, but what? The murder weapon was probably taken from this rack. The ship... Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky.
And why is that?
Because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oof, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
Mr. Holmes?
Who could do such a thing? My poor husband.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Mr. Holmes?
These footprints.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin, near the window.
This window is locked from the inside. I do not see any attempt at a break-in. This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Did you hear that? There's someone there. I'm gonna collar him.
I'll be right behind you.
Police! Hold it right there. All right, my fine fellow. Who are you and what are you doing here?
You're detectives, I suppose. You imagine that I'm connected with the death of Captain Carey. I assure you I'm innocent.
Innocent? And what are you doing in his cabin?
Shall I tell you? You came to retrieve what you had lost after killing Peter Carey, but we were here waiting for you.
What is your name?
John Hopley Nelligan, but I didn't...
Do you deny that you came here yesterday?
No, but yes, it's just that I couldn't...
I'm tired of this. Off we go to the yard. Tomorrow, I'll see that you're put in front of the judge.
What? But you can't! I'm not... It's a terrible mistake!
Enough! You can explain all of that to the judge. You're coming with me to the yard.
But...
In light of recent events, it seems evident that your coming here was unnecessary. All the same, I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Holmes.
You are welcome, Inspector, but please don't be too hard on our young fellow. I would like to question him tomorrow morning.
Ça sera pour demain. Hop. Allez, la bonne soirée.